You were 17. You could tell that it was an 11-year-old and 13-year-old, right? Especially the 11-year-old.
I ain't know how old it was.
You knew how old they looked. All right, that ends that. That's all I wanted to know. You know how old they look. When's the last time you had a drug test? You hadn't had one?
In a little minute.
Yeah.
Probably
Maybe
since I
we need to
came.
do one today. Thanks. All right, I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Byron. I agree.
Okay, mic drop by Miss Renata over there out of the Louisiana Parole Board. You know, she is a tough cookie. She was the first female warden of Angola prison. She's been around the block, and she dropped the mic on this Ch0m0's parole dreams. Now, he is a serious Ch0m0, and I do think he may have showed up to his parole hearing loaded. You'd have to see the rest of it to see what led up to that question. So with that, let's jump in.
Parish, it is 11:47 a.m. on June 11th, 2025. And with the officer there in Madison, please introduce yourself for the record.
Camac Video Conference Office.
All right, thank you, sir, for accommodating us today. And you are Mr. Sylvester?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sylvester, introduce us, give us your full name and your DOC number, please.
Call Anthony Sylvester, 711 892.
Yep, that's it. That's what I got. 711-892. Thank you. All right, Mr. Sylvester, let me just read some identifying information into the record and we'll get started with our interview. You're classified as a first offender, currently serving a 15-year sentence for 2 counts of second degree rape. You have a parole eligibility date, which was August 18, 2020, and you don't earn good time, so your full term date is August 20th of 2030. Does all that sound correct to you, sir?
Well,
all right. Your case today has been assigned to Mr. Byron. Would you answer his questions, please?
All right, I'm going to start off with just a brief summary of the case. If you pled guilty to second degree rape, 2 counts, and received 15 years concurrent on May 3rd, 2016. Over on December 6th, 2014, Sylvester 17 had penile and vaginal sex with an 11-year-old victim. During the investigation, that victim's sister also reported more than a year ago at the Sylvester that you entered the bedroom where she was sleeping and had penile and vaginal sex with her too. A warrant was issued for Sylvester and he was arrested on 5/14/15. That's the details of those that case there. Also, while you were in jail, of Balls Parish, looks like you got a charge that's still pending, of possession with intent to distribute Schedule II drugs, and that warrant is still active. My first question is about those charge over there at Balls Parish that's still pending. What is it still pending? Number one, and what happened there at Balls Parish to get a distribution charge in jail?
I can't hear. It sounds like they're talking. I can't hear.
We probably got you on mute.
You can't hear us? They can't hear us. Y'all should be able to hear us. Mr. Sylvester, can you hear us? Is he frozen? No, I saw a blink.
Can you hear us?
Wait a second. Can you hear us, Mr. Sylvester? Now I can't hear you. Looks like you're on mute, maybe? Oh, can't hear you.
Can you hear us?
Oh, I think you can. Yeah, there we go. Now can you hear us, Mr. Sylvester? Now I can't see you. Something's in front of the camera. I don't know what's in front of it, but something, there we go. You got it. Mr. Sylvester, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. So I'll start over again and rehash what happened. You pled guilty to charges on 5-3-16 of second-degree rape, 2 counts, and got 15 years hard labor concurrent for each count. This is because at a sleepover on December 6, 2014, Sylvester had penile and vaginal sex with an 11-year-old victim. During the course of the investigation, the victim's sister reported more than a year ago at a sleepover at the Sylvester's aunt's house. Sylvester entered the bedroom where she was sleeping and had penile and vaginal sex with her also. A warrant was issued and Sylvester was arrested on 5/14/15. We also have a charge from 1/26/21 that's still pending from Avals Parish, where it looks like you were in jail when you got a charge of possession with intent to distribute Schedule II drugs. And my first question was about that drug charge in jail. How did you get a possession with intent to distribute drugs while in jail?
Found, well, I'm gonna see. They had a shakedown and they found something by my rack, by my bed.
So they didn't catch you distributing any drugs, they just found it in a shakedown?
They found it in my area, the perimeter where I was living in.
And what amount was it?
I can't really tell you I don't know what they found. They ain't show me.
My next question deals with the 2 young girls, underage girls. Did you think it was okay to have sex with those girls?
I was young at the age, I must say I was young at the age, and they was young too. But I'm older now. I'm gonna say it wasn't the right thing to do.
Well, just, you were 17, you could tell that it was an 11-year-old and 13-year-old, right? Especially the 11-year-old.
I ain't know how old it was.
You knew how old they looked. All right, that ends that. That's all I wanted to know. You know how old they looked.
Mr. Sylvester, is the charges in Avals Parish still pending? Did you go to court on that yet?
Never go to court since I've been at that jail.
Okay. All right. When's the last time you had a drug test? You hadn't had one?
In a little minute.
Yeah.
Probably
Maybe
since I
we need to
came.
do one today.
I think so.
All right, I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Byron.
I agree.
Well, today I vote to deny your parole request due to the serious nature of the crimes you committed against 2 juvenile victims.
Mrs. Stapleton.
I concur, Mr. Barra.
My vote today also is to deny because of the age of the victims at the time. So today, Mr. Sylvester, your parole is being denied, sir. Good luck to you. And that concludes our business. We're going to adjourn at 11:57.
Okay, and all I can say is when you think you've seen it all, but this is the Ch0m0 hearing that takes the cake, right? I mean, what a wonderful, they just dropped the mic on him. They just ended it right there. They're like, sayonara, and I truly hope that they test him there and whatever, because come on. Come on. I mean, I know that I'm only speculating on a situation like this, as Dr. Grande loves to say, but that man appeared to be blitzed out of his mind. Is that what Mojo does? I mean, because holy cow, can you imagine showing up to your parole hearing like that? The things that he said, it's wow. You know, that is, you know what that is? We're seeing what's going on in Louisiana now, just the mud on their face with the 10 prisoners escaping out of jail and then more escaping, and they have multiple escapes in their jacket, and still 2, including Tattoo Face, has not been caught yet. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, we covered Tattoo Face's Mr.
My name is Antoine Max.
Mother's parole hearing, and he made an appearance there. If you haven't seen it, check the Jailbreak playlist. It's in there. But anyways, I digress. This is embarrassing for Louisiana. I mean, how do you, as a CO, bring someone up for their parole hearing, and they're clearly only speculating, allegedly, rocked out of their minds? Wouldn't you, as a CO or as a sheriff or whatever, whoever's running this jail, be like, no, you're done. You're not going to your parole hearing interview. And that's, I mean, it's embarrassing, right? I think so. And what was it? Let's see what Lady Holly has here on the chart, in the spreadsheet here, the document. So we know that he has at least 2 victims, right? What was the sentence he was given? And then he has the thing for distribution while locked up, but there's no other info on him. Lady Holly doesn't have any other info, which is typical for these cases. You're not going to have info on these cases. It's unbelievable to me. But nothing new. Today's docket was loaded with those similar crimes, similar ages, with this kind of stuff in their jacket. And I like this panel. Miss Renazza, Miss Stapleton, and Mr. Barr. They are a tough crowd. I like them. That's a good panel. I think I'd prefer the sheriff instead of Mr. Barr, but he's good. He's kind of he's very square, right? Which is it works with this. But there you go. There you have it, right? Let's jump to the next one, a serious hearing. But it's easier to go through these hearings when you have a strong parole board. Imagine if this was Iowa. And for those of you who don't know, I have a second channel called Mandu 2, cover more states. Iowa, you might be shocked if you didn't know this. They are the worst. They are a criminal parole board, the worst parole board and parole, basically, culture out of all the states that we cover. They would have released this man. They would have released him with a pat on the back and a cookie. And they would have said he'd done a great job. And I'm not joking. There's no exaggeration. I think we've only seen them turn down two people, like 3 people maybe. So with that, let's jump in.
The victim was 8 years old, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's whenever it was supposed to have happened.
It started when she was about 4 years old.
No, ma'am. No.
And you were originally charged with 11 counts of indecent behavior, 6 counts aggravated crime against nature, 2 counts obstruction of justice, and 3 counts of sexual battery. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to trial?
No, ma'am.
Pled guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
And you heard correctly, from 4 to 8 years old, given just a 7-year sentence, parole eligibility after 5. But what always makes me go nuts on these cases is hearing from the support. We are going to hear from his sister, and the things that she says are just chilling. We're also going to hear from the two-faced DA. I say two-faced DA because they're the ones that agreed to this plea deal to begin with. But with that, let's jump in.
Mr. Bryan, you're classified as a first felony offender. You're serving currently a 9-year sentence for indecent behavior with a juvenile. You were sentenced in September of 2020. Your parole eligibility date was in July of 2021. You do not earn good time, so your full term date is July 24, 2027. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So before we hear from your sister, we'd like to hear from you to tell us, what you are classified as a first offender. You do have a lengthy arrest record, but tell us, what led you to jail? Why are you in jail? And why do you think we ought to vote to grant you parole today?
I was doing a lot of drugs at one point in my life, and things went to another, and I was at the point to quitting everything, and then next thing I know, I get picked up on the back child support, and then I get booked on a sex offense, and here I am 7 years later.
Tell us about the sex offense.
I was split up with my baby mama for over 8 years, and then I was getting my daughter off and on. And the next thing I know, she's telling me I won't ever see her again, this, that, and other. And if the incident was supposed to have happened with my stepdaughter, her daughter, she had with another man. And we'd been
You're
split
saying,
up.
yeah, so you're saying you didn't do anything inappropriate?
No, ma'am, I'm not saying that I didn't.
Okay.
She waited
Okay.
8 years later, and I've been through the sex offender behavior class. I've graduated all 4 phases, and I was ready to try to go home.
So the victim was 8 years old, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Started-
whenever it was supposed to have happened.
It started when she was about 4 years old.
No, ma'am. No.
And you were originally charged with 11 counts of indecent behavior, 6 counts aggravated crime against nature, 2 counts obstruction of justice, and 3 counts of sexual battery, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to trial,
No, ma'am.
pled guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
You had a plea agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
What concerns me, Mr. Bryan, as I mentioned, I have a lot of concern about what I see in your record, in your criminal history. I see 4 arrests, well, 1 domestic abuse battery in 2006, 3 simple battery arrest and conviction. Well, you pled guilty to all of this in 2006. Another domestic abuse battery in 2010, in 2013, another simple battery that you pled guilty to, aggravated battery in 2014, 2016, the drugs, you talked about the drugs earlier. 2017, domestic abuse battery, aggravated assault, although you pled guilty to a lesser charge on that. And then we have this offense for which you're arrested in 2018. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That you've been in jail 7 years
Yes, ma'am.
and you completed sex offender treatment in 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you learn from that?
I learned a lot, like, to stay away from, certain situations, to observe situations, and to stay out of trouble.
Any other programs you've been able to take advantage of?
I took the risk management substance abuse class in Rapides.
Right, good. Is that the only time you've had a substance abuse education class?
Yes, ma'am.
So all these other arrests that I spoke of, was out there, you were heavily involved in drugs at that time also?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I was.
What's your level of education?
I have a 10th grade.
Have you ever attempted to get your GED?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Now, I've always had good paying jobs.
So you just didn't think it was important?
At one point in my life, I didn't.
Are you in the STEP program now?
No, ma'am.
What do you do there?
They just had me in a dorm. I got shipped here for the sex offender program, and I graduated at September 20th of 2023.
Yeah, so you took that program there in Franklin?
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't realize they had it there. That's great. You do have opposition to any early release. Your sentencing judge, we'll hear from the DA's office in a moment. The sheriff's office, the attorney general's office they're all opposed to any consideration for early release for you. Is there anything, before we hear from the DA's office, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, ma'am.
And is Mr. Brown still in the room with you?
No, ma'am. He stepped out.
All right. Can we hear from Mr. Johnson with the DA's office, please?
Good morning. Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good. Thank you.
Yes, Derek Johnson with the Rapides Fair District Attorney's Office. We are still opposed to any early consideration for this inmate. Due to the heinous nature of the crime, you know, and I know I joined on late, I got kicked off earlier, but being in a household with a juvenile and then having that juvenile trust you and then taking their trust and then taking their innocence from them, that right there can never be restored. And I think he got off fairly easy, and he took his plea deal and he was found guilty, and we are still opposed to any early consideration for him, given his criminal history as well.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Miss Lashley, could we hear from you, please?
Good morning.
Morning. You may have muted your microphone. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
I have known Mr. Bryan since he was 17 years old. He has worked with me and my husband. We are self-employed. I have always been considered as his only sister. I'm not really his blood sister, but I have known his whole family. I have 3 girls. I have no concerns at all. He is a very good worker. I have been around his daughter. He has a beautiful grandson now. Yeah, Mr. Bryan, he's had some bad luck. He could have changed some things. I believe that he's done his fair share, his rights, his wrongs, but I also believe that at a 7 years somewhere being where he's at, he should learn something. I also believe that people should have a second chance in life. It wouldn't hurt to do more, but if he does get out, he does have a full-time job working. I mean, I've never had any kind of problems at all. Me and my husband, my 3 kids, we've all prayed for him. His daughters prayed for him. You know, I don't see where he is any kind of harm of society. I can say, do I believe some of it? No, I don't.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lashney. We appreciate your input. All
Thank
right,
you.
let me defer to my colleagues. Any questions?
No question.
All right, Mr. Bryan, I don't see any other questions by my colleagues. I think we're prepared to vote. I'll be voting first. My vote today is going to be to deny your parole based on your criminal history, the age of the victim at the time this occurred, and your age, and the opposition that's been expressed by the DA's office. Mr. Byron,
I concur for the same reason.
Mrs. Stapleton.
I concur for the same reason, and I think you got off light with your plea bargain.
Yes.
You should serve the whole time.
So, Mr. Bryan, today your parole's being denied, sir. Good luck to you. And that concludes our business there in Franklin. We're signing off at 11 o'clock.
Okay, and we all knew that he was going to get denied because this is Louisiana. This is a tougher parole board, and they don't take it easy on Ch0m0s. Now, other states, Connecticut, you never know, kind of a coin flip. Iowa, they grant automatically, and Utah, yeah, they grant pretty much too all the time. And look, there's no information. Holly did her research, but there's nothing on here. It's just a child, right? This guy was a little unique for a Ch0m0, being that he had some type of violent history and some type of weird record in the past. Usually they're whistle clean. But can you imagine? Can you even imagine his sister, his support? And we see this all the time. It's a pattern. These Ch0m0s, well, it's like the birds of a feather flock together. They have someone who is in denial. Their head is in the sand, and they, in my opinion, are just as dangerous as the monster. To think the moment she said, I have him around my kids all the time, my 3 girls, no concern at all. He talks about the granddaughter. She says that he has bad luck. I mean, really, she's just nuts. I mean, she was talking. When you have friends like her, you don't need enemies. So, like, oh my gosh, can you even imagine having that? Like, she was saying, oh, he had bad luck. Oh, he's done his fair share. Oh, if he's in there longer, it won't hurt him. And then finally, she finishes it off by saying, and do I think that do I believe that he's done any of it? No, I don't. And it's like, you do not admit to doing this to a child. You do not sign the dotted line if you are innocent. You don't. It's so simple. And anyone who can't even have like the 2 brain cells to rub together to see that is nuts. It's not even like he actually got for Louisiana a long sentence. I thought it was 7. Was it 9 years he got? And no, he's innocent. It's fun. After completing, think about this, their pathetic programs. They put him through sex offender program. He does all 3 phases, and on the 4th phase, he's a facilitator. So let that sink in. He is a facilitator. He is teaching the class. He is teaching other Ch0m0s, because that makes sense. And even with all the training, taxpayer dollars, and all the, the Kool-Aid that they drink together, this is as good as it gets for him. And as good as he can perform, as good as he can, oh, no, I didn't do nothing there or that. It's just child support payments, and they're making it up. Still never ceases to shock me. Now we're going to go and watch another parole hearing. This man killed a man. And listen to this. He kills a man in like a DUI type thing. And the judge, it definitely wasn't Judge Marabella, the drug court judge said, we'll give you probation. Not 1 day in prison did that man have to serve for killing another man. And guess what? He violated his probation, and now he's in prison looking for parole. So let's go.
First, let me just read some identifying information into the record. You're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 5-year sentence. You were sentenced in Franklin Parish in October of 2023 for negligent homicide. Looks like you were placed on probation and that was revoked in March 26th of 2024. You do have a parole eligibility date, which has just passed. It was April 10th, 2025. And you have a good time date of October 10th, 2025. Does all that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your case this morning has been assigned to Mr. Barra. Would you answer his questions?
All right, let me first start out by giving just a brief summary that on November 19, 22, you were traveling 66 miles an hour in the inside lane and merged into the outside lane, but did not see the truck in front of you in the outside lane. Slowed to almost a stop, turn into the church parking lot. That you had meth and clonazepam and THC in your blood at the time of the crash. Mr. Jones stated that he smoked marijuana, took clonazepam 24 hours before the crash, smoked a small amount of meth 48 hours before the crash, and does not remember if he was high or not at the time of the crash. Subsequently, on October 31st, 23, you were sentenced to 5 years hard labor, 5 years probation in drug court. You got revoked out of drug court less than a year, looks like, for testing positive for meth and marijuana and failed to complete the drug court or pay your fine and costs. And that's what you're serving your time for now, and you're here with us for consider your release on. So looking at that and listening to that, you know, you had the biggest break I've ever seen for a homicide charge with 5 years probation. And you wasn't able to successfully complete that. What's different now than then that we would be able to believe that if we let you release, you would complete the program?
Sir? Say that again. I'm sorry.
What's different now than when you was referred to drug court? If we would have let you out, certainly we put you in all kinds of different treatment programs. Why should we believe that you would do them? You didn't do them then.
Well,
oh, no.
Yes, I understand. Well, I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. Doing this has been very hard on me, and I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean,
Did you pay anything on your fine and court costs back then?
no, sir. No, sir.
But have you completed any programs while you're in jail right now?
No, sir. They have a step at this facility. I'm a second-time offender, and they only admit third-time offenders in this facility and in Franklin Parish where I was housed.
Okay, kind of back to that same first question. You continued to use drugs and failed drug tests during your drug court probation. Are you willing to stop and ready to stop using those drugs now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just for the record, you have very strong opposition from law enforcement. The judges opposed, the sheriff's opposed, the district attorney's opposed, and the attorney general's opposed. You also have very strong opposition from the victim's family, both the victim's wife and the victim's son are strongly opposed.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's this phone. All I know is the person. You got a call coming in? No.
We hear you.
That's okay. We can hear you.
Okay.
We hear you.
Ma'am. Okay.
Yes, Yes.
Allow live. You're gonna.
We hear you.
Ms. Jones, we can hear you.
Okay. All I know is he is not the same person he was when he was incarcerated a year and a half ago. He is a stronger person. He has been playing since he's been in there. He is just a totally changed man from when he went to prison a year and a half ago. After many meetings, talking to him, he is just a different person. And I know if he got out into society, he would live a productive and happy life. Me and my family, we will support him in any way to help him live that happy life. And we will support him in all aspects of his sobriety. I know he's very sorry for what happened, remorseful. We are too. But he is the man that he should be right now to live a happy, productive life.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We appreciate your persistence in trying to speak with us this morning. Thank you for
I'm
doing.
sorry. And I did send a letter in to the board for review too. So
You have it. Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, Mr. Jones, Ms. Stapleton has some questions.
Mr. Jones, I had a question. Were you ordered to pay restitution for the funeral of the victim?
No, ma'am. Not
No.
that.
So no consequences there. Wondered about that. And then, as it was brought out, the fact that you failed drug court and was given, you were given basically a very light sentence for the death of a human being.
Yes, ma'am.
5 years, and you still didn't take it serious enough that, you stayed off of drugs. So in my opinion, you're a safety risk to society if you were to get back on the road right now. That's my opinion. That's all I had to say.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Jones, I don't see any other questions. So, Mr. Bauer, are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, today I have to vote to deny your parole request based on the strong law enforcement opposition, the strong victim opposition, the failure to comply with drug court in the beginning, and that's
Thank you, sir.
And I concur with Mr. Barra, and I would like to add that my feeling is that he's a safety risk to society at this point.
All right, Mr. Jones, based on the opposition that you've heard about today, my vote today is to deny. You do have a release date in just a few months. So I hope that you do follow through and maintain your sobriety once you get out. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Y'all have a good day.
All right. And again, nothing to add. If you can imagine, there is nothing online about a man killing someone else in a car wreck anywhere. Lady Holly did her searching. There's nothing on it. But can you imagine? Can you even imagine that somebody would be given 5 years probation? How is that possible? It makes no sense. And then while he's out, he immediately flunks. Now he's got to do his time. If you can imagine, not even ordered to pay restitution. It's truly unbelievable. I have nothing else to add. I think everybody feels the same way. How do you take a life and get probation and show no remorse, no honor for that person's life by then getting it revoked, not even ordered to pay restitution? It just blows my mind. As Miss Stapleton said, and I think she was making it for the record because he's getting out in good time anyways, that he is a danger. He is a danger to society. And how would another judge or DA not see that? That's why I think it's so funny how when judges and DAs say that they're opposed, like the last DA in the last hearing, it's not his fault. He's just an ADA. He's put there to talk, but like you're the one that gives a plea deal. Then you show up saying, "I oppose you getting out," or put on the record, "I oppose you." Well, how do you oppose him getting out on parole when you literally gave him 5 years probation, judge and DA? It's like you can't have it both ways. the ADA in the last case, he's my least favorite ADA. I just feel like his heart's never in it. Like he never really knows about the case. He just comes on to check boxes. But we've been seeing him for how many years? Like, has he ever really? Like, there are some ADAs you can tell they know the case, they sleep the case, they feel the case. He just shows up. But what can I say? I have nothing else to add. We have another hearing, another serious crime, and I haven't watched it yet. I just see it here in the spreadsheet what Lady Holly has in here, and it's brutal. Now let's see what happens. And also want to give Nicole a shout out for telling me about the first hearing that we watched, saying, Mandy, make sure that you check it out. And I checked it out, and I said, yeah, I have to stop everything I'm doing and cover it. So
Good morning,
that's
Mr.
why we're here.
Watson.
How are you? I'm good.
Good, well, I'm glad to hear it. Would you tell us your name and DOC number for the record, sir?
Chadwick B. Watson, 508530.
Yes, sir, that's what I have. And let me acknowledge your niece, Daria.
Diarrhea.
She's
Yes,
with
ma'am.
us today,
That's
and
good.
she wants to speak, and we're gonna call on her in just a few minutes.
Okay.
So first, let me just read some identifying information. You are, Mr. Watson, classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence. You were sentenced in DeSoto Parish in September 2011 for forcible rape. You do have a parole eligibility date, which was March 15, 2021. You do not earn good time, so your full term date is March 16, 2031. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so before we get started, we'd like to hear you tell us why are you here? Why are you in jail? And why do you think we ought to grant you parole today?
And I think sometimes people get with the wrong crowd, the wrong environment, and things happen. But I can say after doing these 15 years, ma'am, it open your eyes and it make you think different about everything. And I can tell you, if you grant me for parole today, I would appreciate it, and I would not let myself down. And second of all, I would not let you down.
Well, we'll probably dig a little deeper into that in a minute, but first we'll, from your niece, Diarrhea, what would you like us to know about your uncle?
I understand that. Well, good morning. How are y'all doing?
Thank you.
I understand that he has made some serious mistakes in the past, and he has accepted all responsibility and full responsibility for them. But I've also seen how much he's grown. He's changed since being incarcerated. My uncle has made use. My uncle has used his time to reflect and learn and take steps on becoming a better person and a better man, and also a better father for his kids. And as a family, we're ready to support him when he's released, and we will have a stable home, emotional support, and also helping him find work and have people who care about him around him.
Good. Well, he's like to have the family support. Thank you for speaking with us this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Watson, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. Would you answer her question?
Good morning, sir. Let me ask you about classes. Have you taken any sex offender treatment classes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I didn't see where you had. What classes have you taken?
Oh, I haven't took any, ma'am.
Been in there long enough, like you said. What did you say, 14 years?
Yes, ma'am.
You haven't taken any classes?
I've applied for classes, but I get the same excuse every time. I have too much time.
Okay, so not your fault then. I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a shame. Okay, so, when asked about this, you said that you hang around the wrong group and you do different things like this. What made you say that about this crime? Ruth. Who was your company?
It's the wrong people, man.
Well, you were in a house full of children. And out of that, you picked one to rape. You didn't have no help doing that. Wasn't a group activity. So it was just you.
Yes, ma'am.
Get that? It was just you. So they talk about you getting out and leading a happy, fulfilled life. What kind of life do you think that little 11-year-old has gone through? You were 28 years old when you did that to her. So you can't say I was a young kid. I hear that all the time. I was young and foolish. You were 28, she was 11. You knew what you were doing. Am I correct when I say that?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think that child went through?
I have no idea, ma'am.
Give it any thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, child had to recount what happened. People hear about it. That kind of thing bothers a child. And sometimes, you know, they go to counseling the rest of their life if they're lucky to get counseling. So sometimes they don't they don't go forward with a happy, fulfilled life because this haunts them forever. So I would like for you to think about that. Now you have opposition from the district attorney's office and the attorney general's office. So you've served 14 of your 20 years. You haven't taken any classes, but as you say, they don't let you take any classes. So that's something you would need to do. Other than that, I don't have any questions because clearly you do admit to the rape, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so there's no doubts about that. All right, anything anybody else wants to say? No questions.
So, Mr. Watson, I don't see any other questions. We're going to be voting. Mrs. Stapleton will be voting first.
Mr. Watson, because of the heinous nature of the crime to a young child and law enforcement opposition, your lack of classes, and I hope there's something we can do to help you get the classes that you need. I'm going to deny your parole today.
Mr. Byron?
I concur with Ms. Stapleton for the same reasons, the law enforcement opposition and the age of the victim at the time of the crime.
And Mr. Watson, I also am voting to deny your parole today. It doesn't seem to me, though, that you have a clear understanding of the impact you had on the victim. And I agree with Mrs. Stapleton. Please give that some thought because you got to come to terms with that. So, but today, sir, you've received a unanimous vote to deny your parole. Good luck to you, Mr. Watson.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to sign off from Richland Parish Detention Center. It's 11:31.
Oh man, thank God for Miss Stapleton. She is special. I love how she just drops the mic on him as she lays down the facts. It's so, he's like, oh yeah, I'm hanging around the wrong people. She's like, oh well, really? Well, you were in a house full of children. You picked one. Was there a group of people involved then? Was that just you? And what Lady Holly found in this case is going to disgust you. It's going to disgust you when you find out. So this was September 20th, 2011. A DeSoto man will spend the next 20 years in jail after pleading guilty to essay of a child. 28-year-old Chadwick Watson in Mansfield pled guilty to one count of forcible, and he was indicted back in March on charges that he did this to his girlfriend's 11-year-old niece. Isn't that the irony there, where he had his niece talking in support? They all have these flying turtle talking in this guy's support. It's just crazy. The assault happened at the aunt's home. Now, once Watson is released from prison, he'll be classified as a sex offender. No kidding. Watson's co-defendant, 34-year-old Ponda Jackson, she pled guilty to accessory after the fact, right? She was arrested after the assault for not telling police about it and for interfering with a witness. She was Watson's girlfriend. So his girlfriend was an enabler, knew what he did to the 11-year-old, and tried to hide it. And, you know, birds of a feather flock together. We see it all the time, and it's insane. Can you imagine? You're protecting your like you can't. I can't even wrap your mind around that. He'll be getting out, I guess, in good time. What, in 5 years? 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. And then what? You know, a case like that. I think a case like that is it's a life. It should be a life sentence case, right? Louisiana law allows for it. He was charged with forcible. Like, this is of an 11-year-old. This is in the legislation allowed for a life sentence, but they don't want to go to trial. They don't want to deal with any of that. So they do 20 years, which is a lot in Louisiana. And that's what they would have told him. They would have said, you would have a life sentence, maybe even the death penalty. But, you know, you'll have a life sentence, so just agree to this 20-year deal. But you're just kicking the ball down the road. Because he will be out in 5 years, and then what? Crazy, huh? Oh, let's see. We have Lady Holly's facts of the day. Grease tossing teeth. Instead of leaving their teeth for the tooth fairy, Greek children have different tradition. They toss their lost milk teeth onto the roof, believing this will bring good luck and the growth of the healthy adult teeth. And this is something I could see. It's you don't get money, just toss your teeth up there. That's a good one. Here's another one. Denmark. During the summer solstice, Denmark celebrates Saint Hans by lighting bonfires and burning straw, which figure in the fire to ward off evil spirits. It's a time for families to come together and enjoy the longest day of the year. That's cool. And we got one more. Oh, wait, did we do this one already? I double clicked it. I guess I double clicked Watson. Here we go. Bolivia, making money into food. In Bolivia, on New Year's Eve, a unique tradition involves baking coins into sugary confections like cakes. It's believed that the lucky person who finds a coin in this slice will have a prosperous year. I have heard of this, except with a different thing and a different tradition. It's simple. I bet you there are a lot of traditions, but I have heard of this where you bake like a key in bread. I guess the key has good luck. I got nothing else to add. I mean, I think we saw it together. Sometimes my brain is fired up and I'm ready to go, and sometimes I'm just a little fried, and I think it is what it is. Here we have our spreadsheet. We have Lady Holly there. Let me tell you something about Lady Holly for those of you who don't know, and it's quite fascinating. Sir Richard is an injured veteran who is quite ill, and Lady Holly is a wounded veteran, wounded in action overseas. She took a mortar shell to the arm. She doesn't talk about this stuff. She always would say in the email, you know, I find out she basically has only the use of one arm, and she has other issues. And she took a shrapnel in the arm, and you know, being a tough, crazy Aussie, stayed in the field for a year without telling people how much pain she was in, and the shrapnel got infected, and it it created issues where she's lost use of the arm and she's choked. She said out in an email a few times, I just want them to lob it off because it's useless anyways. And so she's doing all this stuff like one-handed, believe it or not, which is just crazy when you see the spreadsheets. Sir Richard's in a wheelchair. They both use air thingies to hear, and they both sometimes have problems with their ear things. They break, and then they like, oh, I have no sound today, so I just so you know, man, do FYI, I'm only reading subtitles, and yet they get so much done, it's insane. And I think it took months before I even found out that Lady Holly had gotten. She would say, "Oh, I got injured on the job," like that's how she played it off, and that like got it out of her that she was actually received shrapnel wound while on base, in Afghanistan. She was I think she said when she had the honorable discharge at squadron leader, which because she's an Aussie, and that's like I think about the rank of colonel, I think more major. So yeah, we got tough crew here at Mandu. Not me. I don't fit in the category, but Sir Richard and Lady Holly. So deserve shout out and respect, and also the best mods in the world. But we saw crazy hearings today, and it never shocks us that evil exists, monsters exist, weak law, weak DAs, weak judges, head in the cloud support. It's all there. It just repeats itself. We see it over and over and over again, but it never ceases to amaze me, to shock me. And with that, I'll let you go.
But the victim was 8 years old, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Started-
whenever it was supposed to happen.
It started when she was about 4 years old.
No, ma'am. No.
And you were originally charged with 11 counts of indecent behavior, 6 counts aggravated crime against nature, 2 counts obstruction of justice, and 3 counts of sexual battery. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
You go to trial,
No, ma'am.
pled guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
You were 17, you could tell that it was an 11-year-old and 13-year-old, right? Especially the 11-year-old.
I ain't know how old it was.
You knew how old they looked. All right, that ends that. That's all I wanted to know. You know how old they looked.
When's the last time you had a drug test? You hadn't had one?
In a little minute.
Yeah.
Probably
Maybe
since
we
I
need to
came.
do one today.
Thanks.
All right, I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Byron?
I agree.